The college football show on the Coach T podcast, presented by Turner Sports Training, TST.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Hey. You know what time it is? Yeah. You know what time it is? Some people are probably like, what time is it? You know what time it is.
It's showtime.
Welcome. You are now listening to the Coach T College Football Show with Mook. We are back. We are ready to go. This will be another week where, unfortunately, we will not go through the best of. There were a lot of really great happenings last weekend, and what was a crazy football weekend, Mook. Not only college football, but NFL. A lot of upsets, a lot of blowouts, a lot of surprising games. So we actually want to get right into the power rankings, and then right from the power rankings, we'll roll right into the games. And obviously, we'll make our picks for every top 25 game this weekend. So fans, you guys are in for a good one. So starting with the power rankings, I'll actually begin, Mook.
Okay.
So just to go over the AP, this is the AP's top 10 teams. You have Georgia number 1, Cincinnati number 2, Alabama 3, Oklahoma 4, Oregon 5, Ohio State 6, Notre Dame 7, Michigan State 8, Michigan 9, and Oklahoma State 10. Now I'm going to list my top 10, Coach T's top 10. Number 1 is clearly Georgia. Number 2 is Alabama. I have number 3 as Ohio State, who was actually the AP number 6. They didn't have a great game last weekend, but you mentioned it and you previewed as we talked about that Ohio State Nebraska game. Nebraska is actually better than what the record shows, and offensively and defensively, they rank much higher than what a lot of people would expect. So you even hit on it. You felt like that was going to be a tough game for Ohio State, and it definitely was. But it is a really good win. You can't fault them for winning by 9 points on the road against a conference team. Oklahoma, they're number 4 for me. Oregon, I also have as number 5, just like the AP. Cincinnati, who was AP number 2, I have them as number 6. Okay, I think they should have lost that game last week against Tulsa. And they've had a couple of scares the last few weeks, so I had to downgrade them. Notre Dame is number 7. Michigan State is number 8. Oklahoma State, who is AP number 10, I have them as number 9. And then my number 10 team in my top 10 rankings, Michigan. That rounds out my top 10. Mook, who do you have for your top teams?
So what we're going to see is that ours are starting to round into each other. And very close now to what we had. I'm not gonna talk much about each team, but I'm gonna just do one thing after I say the name, just because I want to marinate a little bit with you on what could happen. I'm gonna say the name, and I'm gonna give you their last 3 games of what they got, and then you're gonna see at the end how much things could change. At number 10, I got Michigan, and their last 3 at Penn State, at Maryland, home against Ohio State. At number 9, I have Michigan State. Home against Maryland, at Ohio State, home against Penn State. At number 8, Oklahoma State. They have TCU at home, at Texas Tech, and home against Oklahoma. Notre Dame at number 7, at Virginia, home against Georgia Tech, at Stanford. Number 6, Cincinnati, at South Florida, home against SMU, at East Carolina. Number 5, Oregon, home against Washington State, at Utah, and home against Oregon State. And then my top 4, Oklahoma, at Baylor, home against Iowa State, at Oklahoma State. Number 3, Ohio State, home against Purdue, home against Michigan State, at Michigan. Number 2, Bama, New Mexico State at home, Arkansas at home, at Auburn. And number 1, Georgia, at Tennessee, Charleston Southern, which is a real school, and at Georgia Tech. So there's a lot of teams playing each other in this top 10.
Yes.
We could have chaos.
Hey, you said it. I think chaos will ensue. So I'm looking forward to that. I know fans of college football, they're looking forward to that. And quite frankly, I know for sure that this top 10 is going to change. I would say even after this weekend, because I feel like there are a couple of games that we'll highlight in a little bit that, I mean, they could get tricky for some teams. I'm looking at Cincinnati. I don't know why, but I think that South Florida game, I think that's a Friday game. You know, I'm always weary about the weeknight games. So that's one of them. There are a couple more, man. We'll obviously get into it, but like you said, chaos will definitely happen. And it's funny that a lot of these teams, to round out the year, they're going to be playing each other. I mean, it's just like the gift from the football god. So I'm happy for them. I'm excited. How do you feel about it?
Oh, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you know, I was at the Purdue-Michigan State game, and you know, to see what could happen with a Purdue team that was on, and you know, a Michigan State team that's still very good, and you know, they could still beat some teams along the way, and you know, it could get interesting. It could get interesting.
Yeah, definitely could. And we won't hit on it, but I do want to give a shout out to TCU. And random, I know, but TCU, they mutually agreed to part ways with Gary Patterson last week. Jerry Kill, he was an interim coach. They had a huge upset win over Baylor last week at home. And I want to give a shout out to their backup quarterback, Chandler Morris. He threw for 461 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also led the team in rushing with 70 rushing yards, had a rush TD. And again, this is after the school, you know, fired, I guess I can't say fire, but they mutually agreed to part ways with the coach that has been a coach for their program for 22 years. Those kids, that quarterback, and Jerry Kill, those coaches and that coaching staff bounced back and had a great win against Baylor. So real random, but I want to shout those guys out because I want to make sure I give them some love. Yeah,
you know what, and just not to get too far into it, but I actually had Jerry Kill as my coach of the week, and Morris as my player of the week because of the fact of what they did. And Jerry Kill is a fantastic coach. I think health problems are the only thing that keeps him from being a big time thing, you know, coach still in college football. But and the quarterback Morris, he's another Oklahoma transfer.
Man, yeah, if Oklahoma could if they could keep all their quarterbacks,
they talk and. You know, afterwards. So that's pretty awesome. So anyway, I just wanted to piggyback. I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it because honorable mention coach for me was Jeff Brown. You know, another top 5 win. I mean, I'm a Hoosier grab, but I got to give credit where credit is due. And you know, the Boilermakers, man, they're showing out, man. They look really good, man. Probably the 2 most impressive wins, you know, this year. I mean, they stack up with anyone. Yeah. So let's do it, man. Let's get right into our pick the winner. We'll go through all of the top 25 matchups. This is powered by the Coach T NFL Show with Kyle and Hicks, which airs weekly during the NFL season on the TST network. We will go through these games and we will select our game of the week, our upset of the week, our blowout of the week, our highest scoring game of the week, and our lowest scoring game of the week. So the first game of the week will be none other than Thursday's matchup. We have North Carolina coming off a huge win over Wake Forest last week and a barn burner, over 100 points scored there. They will face number 25 Pittsburgh. They are 6.5 point favorites at home. 74.5 is the over under. North Carolina, they are 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games against Pittsburgh. And the total has gone over in 6 of North Carolina's last 7 games against Pittsburgh. And then the total has also gone over in 7 of Pittsburgh's last 8 home games. Mook, pick the winner.
You know what? I'll tell you right now, this was the one game that I had complete paralysis by analysis. I give up. I'm not even going to go through it because of these 2 teams and just the way that they kind of can't put 2 in a row together.
Yep.
I'm going to take Pitt at home because it's a weeknight and it's at home. That's it. There's no other reason because I don't know. I don't have the slightest clue what's going to happen in this game. So I'm going to take Pitt because they're at home and it's a Thursday night game. And that's a horrible analysis, but that's all I got.
Hey, I'm right there with you. I don't think you can trust either of these teams.
No.
If I had to bank on it, I would take the home team, as you mentioned. A shorter week. North Carolina had a game that I mean, again, over 100 points scored against Wake Forest last week, and now they have to play on a Thursday in Pittsburgh in the NFL stadium, which is already hard enough against a top 25 team. I think North Carolina hangs on at least early in the game, but Pittsburgh, they win this matchup. I will say this is Coach T's highest scoring game of the week. I think it's the highest total with any of these ranked teams. And normally I don't like to go with the highest total or the highest point spread as my, highest total of the week or blowout of the week. But this one I had to stick with it, man. 74.5 is the over under. All the signs, all the roads point towards this being an over game. And I just think the only way North Carolina can hang tough is if they score in Pittsburgh. They're not going to be slowed down. So if anything in this game that I could bank on, I feel like a lot of touchdowns, a lot of points will be scored. Okay, next we have Friday, a matchup that we hinted to. We have number 6 Cincinnati. They are 23.5 point favorites at home. On the road against South Florida. 58 points is the over under. Cincinnati, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 road games. South Florida, however, they are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games against Cincinnati. And the total has gone over in 7 of South Florida's last 8 home games. Mook, pick the winner.
Cincinnati, I'm not going to say that they shouldn't have won last week, but man, they sure got lucky. Let's put it that way. That fumbling going into the end zone by Tulsa, recovered by Cincinnati. They got enough sun shining on their rear end right now, but they don't look great. They don't look like the team they did earlier on in the season. I don't know if the book's out, something isn't right. But that said, I mean, I think they're going to win this football game. I think it's another one now. It could, end up being pretty tough, but they need style points. They don't really have the schedule to do much with, and I don't know if a lot of people even believe that they would beat Notre Dame again right now. So Cincinnati's got to win, and they got to win big. I think they'll get the win. I don't know about big.
Yeah. South Florida's not a good team.
No.
And they haven't been a good team for quite some time now. But for whatever reason, I have something new for you, Mook.
Yeah.
This is my quote-unquote far-fetched upset of the week. It's not going to happen. I don't expect it to happen. But if it did happen, a little part of me wouldn't be surprised, if that makes sense.
No,
okay?
It does.
You know what? Look, it's a night game. It's another weeknight game. Cincinnati's on the road. They're playing a team that they should crush. There's no positives for Cincinnati in this game. If they win big, they're supposed to.
Right.
If they somehow don't win big, that's obviously a bad sign, and it's not a good thing for their college football playoff hopes. But they're undefeated for a reason. South Florida, again, is not a good team. I think Cincinnati wins this game, but I'm with you. I do not see Cincinnati winning by 24, to 28 points. Like, I don't see them winning by 4 scores. So, give me Cincinnati. But would I be surprised if South Florida hangs tough and possibly has a chance to win this game late? No, especially not with the way the Bearcats have played, the last couple of weeks. All right, next, our Saturday slate. We begin with number 17 Mississippi State facing number 13 Auburn. War Eagles, they are minus 5.5 point favorites at home. 50 points is the over-under. Auburn, they are 17-4 straight up in their last 21 home games. Mississippi State, they are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games. They're also 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 road games. Auburn, they are 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games at home against Mississippi State. Mook, pick the winner.
I think this game is another one that just kind of follows the trends of this rivalry, where I think the home team in Auburn is your favorite, clearly to me in this one. Mississippi State, I always like to take them at home, not so much on the road, so give me Auburn.
Please explain to me why Auburn is not a bigger favorite.
I think that it's just a matter of the up and down that follows them offensively. Whether it be Bo Nix, kind of depending. I mean, he can make the great plays. He can make no plays. So it's kind of. I think just a little bit of that, and I think just
a little bit of these guys being 18 and 22-year-olds, and they can never put 2 weeks back to back.
Right. And there's just so much parity in so many of those schools in the West right now. And, I think it's really hard to separate them by a whole lot. So.
And Mook, I'm glad you said that. And because of that, I'm taking Mike Leach and his crew. I'm taking Mississippi State to win this game. Yeah, you know what? Again, I mean, looking at the trends, Mississippi State, they are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, and 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 road games. So they seemingly do well on the road. I don't know what you're going to get from Auburn, and I'm not just going to blindly take them only because they're their home team. At a certain point in a 4-quarter game, some of that stuff really doesn't matter. And I think in this matchup, the home team, it helps Auburn, but I don't know about how much. And again, I mean, they're only 5.5-point favorites. Mississippi State, they're coming off of a not so great loss but Arkansas is a good team. They lost to last week. Arkansas was top 10 at one point, and Auburn, they're coming off of a drumming by Texas A&M, which, I called last week. So both these teams are due for a bounce back. If I have to count on any team to do it, I guess I'm going to take Mike Leach. I'm going to take the veteran coach. I shouldn't say veteran coach, but the longer tenure coach. I'm going to take him and his offense that can, when they're right, they can't put up points. And Auburn, when they're wrong, they cannot put up points. So I'm kind of banking on the fact that Auburn continues to be in the offensive funk that they were last week. And I feel like Mississippi State can maybe make a play or two more late in the game to seal this win. So I'm going with the Bulldogs in this matchup. All right, next we have number 8 Oklahoma. They are 5.5-point favorites on the road against number 12 Baylor. 63 points is the over/under. Baylor, they are 5-0 against the spread and 5-0 straight up in their last 5 home games. In Oklahoma, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 road games. And in the last 5 games that Oklahoma has faced Baylor, Oklahoma has won each of those 5 games. Mook, pick the winner.
There's a kind of a heartbreaking punch in the gut loss for Baylor, losing to TCU last week. It helps the games in Waco. I think, though, with Caleb Williams kind of rolling that offense now, I do like Oklahoma to go on the road and get the win.
All right, Mook, breaking news. College football playoffs. Georgia's number 1, Auburn's number 2, Oregon is number 3, and I want you to guess who's number 4.
Ohio State.
Yes, Ohio State is number 4. Cincinnati is 5th, and Michigan is 6th.
Wow.
I'm surprised by the Michigan one.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
there's a lot of people, I'm sure, in Michigan that feel like the Michigan State game got away from them, that they should have closed that game out. But interesting. We'll see how that rolls out, and we'll see how much longer Cincinnati can stay up where they're at.
Yeah, well, check this out. We're talking about this Oklahoma game, and Oklahoma is AP number what? AP number 4, and they're not in the top 6 for the college football playoff rankings. So I think that may play a little factor in this game that we're talking about here against number 12 Baylor. So with that being said, it's perfect. I'm going with Oklahoma. They've won the last 5 games in this matchup. Oklahoma's good on the road. Now Baylor, they're good at home, but I think they got exposed a little bit last week. Checking out that game, like I don't love their offense. I feel like they have trouble scoring the ball. They do well against teams that they're able to slow down defensively because, Coach Dave Aranda, like he's a great defensive mind. But I think offensively, Baylor, they just have a lot of trouble. So I don't think this game hits, 63 points. That's the total. I think it goes under there unless Oklahoma just scores crazy and blows them out. But Baylor cannot slow down Oklahoma. This is a buzzsaw for Baylor at home here. And this is, for me, I don't want to say a lock, but I feel like Oklahoma is definitely going to win this game. I feel like it will take a lot for Baylor not to win this game. And as I say that, of course, a week from now, we're going to be talking about this game and how Oklahoma blew it. But again, Oklahoma has everything in front of them. And again, I mean, to me, if I'm an Oklahoma player, coach, staff member, I'm spinning this and saying this is disrespectful. We're the number 4 team in the AP, and now we can't even make top 6 in the college football playoffs. And that shows you a lot of what they think about also the Big 12 as a conference as a whole. So, and Oklahoma's typically that representer, and to me, they're being disrespected here. So I love Oklahoma this week. I love Oklahoma against Baylor that has trouble scoring, and Lincoln Riley, man, I feel like they have a lot to prove this weekend, and I think they get it done. Next, we have Northwestern facing new number 21 of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they are 24.5-point favorites at home. 41.5 is the over-under. Wisconsin, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games. So they had a rocky start of the season. Now they've kind of gotten back on track. Northwestern, they are 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games against Wisconsin. And the total has gone under in 7 of Wisconsin's last 8 games against Northwestern. Mook, pick the winner.
Northwestern played competitively last week against Iowa. I don't know if that's just mostly a byproduct of Iowa's offense being completely inept as well. But
I'm saying yes.
But it appears that Wisconsin is getting better offensively, and the way that their defense has played all season long, I think that they at Camp Randall should roll pretty heavily, I think, in this ball game. I definitely like Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, everyone and their mama is going to take Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I'm joining mama. I'm going to take Wisconsin too. I just don't feel like Northwestern has anything here. Again, we talked about their game last week against Iowa. That's more fitting. When Northwestern's at home, they're playing a team that has trouble scoring. They have a chance in that game. And even in that game, and I mean, it was an ugly, nasty game, but Northwestern never led in that game, if I'm not mistaken. So Northwestern now going on the road against Wisconsin that is rolling 5-0 in their last 5 games. I mean, they scored at will last week. So I feel like Wisconsin is, again, getting back on track, starting to run the ball better. They're starting to play defense better. They're starting to be a little more explosive. They're starting to be more advantageous, more opportunists on the defense side of the ball. I think they had a pick 6 last week. So I just feel like, again, another buzzsaw for another team in Northwestern, and they'll be licking their wounds after this week. So I'm taking Wisconsin. I'm taking Wisconsin large. Next, we have New Mexico State at number 2, Alabama. Alabama, they are a 200-point favorite. Oh, no, sorry. Read that wrong. Alabama, they are 51.5-point favorites. 67.5 is the over-under. I don't need to read the trends. All the trends follow Alabama. We're both taking Bama, right?
Yeah, I thought Bama was a little bit gross last week, but they bounced back fine.
Yeah. Hey, and what would have been one of my plays of the week was in that Alabama LSU game. It was LSU's, it was first quarter. It was their fake punt. Yeah. Fake punt, jump pass to, I think, maybe their snapper. And that was a great play. And I think that led to their first touchdown. But, Alabama, I mean, they can pick their number here. 51.5 point. I mean, come on. Are we going to waste any time on this? Alabama by 1 million.
Yeah.
Next, we have number 7, Michigan facing Penn State. This is the only matchup of the week, top 25 matchup, where the non-ranked team, they are the favorite. Penn State is favored at home. They are 1-point favorites, and 48.5 is the over-under. Penn State, they are 6-1 straight up in their last 7 home games. And surprisingly, a lot of over trends. The total has gone over in 5 of Michigan's last 5 road games. And the total has gone over in 5 of the last 5 games within this matchup between these two teams. Mook, pick the winner.
Well, I didn't know the point spread on it when I made that pick, but I don't like this matchup for Michigan. I don't. That defense at Penn State and just the way when Sean Clifford's in there, their offense moves a little bit better down the field. I think the Michigan defense is very good. I think this is going to be a slugfest. I mean, I think they're throwing haymakers and just, dirty boxing. And I like Penn State in this game. I think that they're going to get some stops, maybe turnover McNamara, and I don't know. I just have a feeling that this is just a tough matchup and a tough place for Michigan to be at this week. So give me the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, you know what? Watching Michigan enough in my life, like this is where, they have a loss. They won last week against Indiana, right? But they had a loss 2 weeks ago, in an arch rival game against Michigan State. They get a bounce back against Indiana, lowly Indiana. You feel like maybe this is an opportunity as underdogs to kind of bounce back and, get 2 wins in a row. And then they seemingly lose this game every time, This is actually my honorable mention game of the week. And with all that being said, I'm still going to take the Wolverines. Again, everything's out in front of them. I got to bank on the fact that the Wolverines, Coach Jim Harbaugh, they understand that, look, we got to continue to win, of course. And we still have an outside chance at the college football playoffs. If they win out and, win the Big Ten, you never know what can happen there. So I think they have a lot more to play for. Penn State is a very tough opponent. Playing at Penn State is not easy, as mentioned numerous times here. But, this being a 12 o'clock noon game, if it was a night game, it'd be much different. But I'm rolling with the fact that I have a team that is hungry, that needs this win, and that is looking at their opponent as like, look, it's a tough opponent. I think they'll be prepped. I don't think they will overlook Penn State. And again, technically right now with this number, they're the underdogs. So give me Michigan in an underdog role on the road against Penn State. Next, we have the Giant Killers. Purdue, they are on the road against number 5 Ohio State. Ohio State, they are 20.5-point favorites at home. 61.5 is the over-under. Ohio State, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 home games against Purdue. And the total has gone under in Purdue's last 6 road games and also 7 of their last 9 games overall. Mook, pick the winner.
Purdue, 2 top 5 wins already. Yet they are a 6. I think they have 3 losses or.
Yep, 5-3.
Yeah, so 5-3 in the year. Look, Ohio State, their offense was finally held in check in many ways by Nebraska, who plays some pretty good defense. Purdue, they had a decent game plan defensively against Michigan State, gave up a couple easy ones, but made them earn it the rest of the time. Ohio State's defense, don't love them. David Bell, he is so much fun to watch and get to see him live and to see him just how he runs his routes so beautifully and just gets open. They're going to give Ohio State some problems. I think at the end of the day, there's too much explosiveness for the Buckeyes. And Purdue's not going to be able to win another game rushing for 58 yards like they did last time. So it's at Ohio State. If it's at Purdue, maybe you get the magic again. But I think that Ohio State needs some style points themselves. I think that it's tough for a while, but I think Ohio State pulls away.
Yeah, I'm going to be short and sweet. If this was at Purdue, I would give it more of a chance. This was my honorable mention game of the week. I think it can be a really good one, but now looking at it, again, this is at Ohio State. It's in Columbus. Ohio State wins, and I really don't see Purdue putting up a fight, man. I mean, you hit on it. One of the low key stats last week was the fact that they won, but they didn't rush the ball well. They had a couple turnovers that they forced with Michigan State. I don't think if they don't force any turnovers of Ohio State and they're not able to run the ball, I mean, this could get ugly. It could get ugly real fast. So Buckeyes, they clearly win this game. And I think it's a little bit of a fool's gold to think that Purdue can stay within this number. Now that I look at it, I just feel like Ohio State, I think they'll be up by 21, middle of the third quarter. And then you're scratching and clawing to try to stay within this number. So, give me the Buckeyes at home. Next, we have number 1 Georgia. They are 20.5-point favorites on the road against Tennessee. 56 points is the over/under. No stats on the trends. The total has gone under in Georgia's last 5 games. However, the total has gone over in 4 of Tennessee's last 5 games, as well as it has gone over in 7 of Tennessee's last 9 games against Georgia. Mook, pick the winner.
I mean, Georgia's the best team in the country. I think everyone agrees on that right now. I do find it interesting when they do play teams that can put points up on the board like Tennessee, but I don't think Tennessee has enough. I don't think they have enough, on their offensive line to keep their quarterback and the running backs clean. I'm looking forward to some challenges for Georgia, but probably won't be into the SEC championship game and maybe the playoffs. So give me the dogs, and give me the dogs very convincingly.
Yeah, I got a lot of honorable mentions, but this is my honorable mention, lowest scoring game of the week. For whatever reason, of course, it's Georgia's defense that gives me the reason to think that it's going under and that it's staying low. But because of that, I do feel like Tennessee can keep it close, because I don't feel like as many points will be scored in this game. You're at home, opportunity for, this is a 3:30 kickoff. So by third, fourth quarter, guess what's going to happen, Mook? The light's going to come down, the sun's going to drop, and it's going to be a night game. You know how much I love night games for underdogs, so especially at home. So I feel like this will be a low-scoring game. Because of that, I feel like Tennessee keeps it much closer. I feel like they keep it within this number, but I can't go against Georgia. They clearly win this game, but will a lot of points be scored? Absolutely not. So give me Tennessee against the number, but give me Georgia to win. Next, we have number 20 Minnesota. They are facing number 22 Iowa. I actually lied earlier. This is the second game in which the lower ranked team, Iowa, they are the favorite. They are 6.5-point favorites at home. 37.5 is the over/under. Minnesota, they are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 road games. They're also 5-1 straight up in their last 6 road games. At Iowa, they are both 5-0 against the spread and 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games against Minnesota. Mook, pick the winner.
Minnesota's beat up, man. They had pretty much the road to the West paved for them, and they went and lost at Illinois. But they're very beaten up. Iowa, that was an ugly win over Northwestern, but their defense is good. This game's at Iowa. I think this is my lowest scoring game of the week. I think that neither team is going to get a whole lot going offensively, and I'm going to take the Hawkeyes in another game that just looks similar to the Northwestern game last week. I don't see a lot of points in there, but a 2017 type game for Iowa.
All right, cool. If it's a 2017 game, guess who I have scoring 20?
Well, Iowa, because they got 2 pick sixes.
yeah, that's the only way they're getting it. If Minnesota protects the ball, I have Minnesota scoring the 20 or scoring more than Iowa in this matchup. I have Minnesota as my upset pick of the week. Minnesota is coming off an ugly loss. I love teams that have a bounce back. Everyone's going to be picking Iowa at home. Everyone's going to side with Vegas here as the lower ranked team. They are the favorite at home. I'm going the other way. I'm taking the team that had a nasty, ugly loss last week that seemingly can't have 2 good weeks in a row. I'm going with the team that also low-key last week were able to secure their head coach, PJ Fleck, for another, I think, 7 years and gave him a raise. So they clearly like what's going on in Minnesota. Actually, I got a former teammate that coaches running backs there. So shout out to you, Kenny Burns. So with that being said, to me, this is anyone's game because it's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be a classic Big Ten matchup. It's going to be one of those games where every team is just scratching and clawing for every yard, and special teams may make a play here. And I just feel like when you have a game where it's going to be a low-scoring game, anyone can win. Why not take the points And also, why not take the team that is the higher ranked team? So I'm going with the Gophers. And also, as I mentioned, I'm going to take the team that is looking for a bounce back, right? And that no one is picking. And I feel like they have an opportunity to, make a statement with this win against an Iowa team that, to me, has not been so hot the last few weeks. They've had trouble scoring, and they just haven't been that impressive. So I like PJ Fleck and his boys to win this matchup.
And then just the kind of, you said you have a former teammate or the running backs coach. Now, this is the one thing I got to give Minnesota credit on. I don't know what their status was completely last week, but the week before they were down to like their fourth string running back, and they were giving the ball to a linebacker, out of the backfield. So,
and they made it work.
Yeah. So I mean, that I will give credit to Minnesota for. I just don't know how long you can do that. They're beat up.
No, it's tough. They are beat up. Again, injuries suck, and injuries are not easier to replace, especially at the collegiate level where you can't pick up Odell Beckham off of the waiver wire. Like you don't have that opportunity. So it's going to be tough. But again, Minnesota, I mean, they have a lot of fight in them. And they're that team that you just don't want to play late in the season for games like this. And I feel like they can prove me right. Next, we have another Big Ten matchup. We have Maryland facing number 3 Michigan State. Michigan State, they are 13-point favorites at home. 62.5 is the over-under. No trends on the spread, but everything says under. The total has gone under in 6 of Maryland's last 7 road games, and the total has gone under in the last 5 games in this matchup. Mook, pick the winner.
Michigan State's got a lot to play for, and I think that Kenneth Walker III's got a lot to play for. I look for him to have a huge game, and I definitely see Michigan State bouncing back and getting themselves ready for their home stretch as well with Ohio State and Penn State. So give me Sparty and give me a huge day from Kenneth Walker III.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. This is my honorable mention blowout of the week. Like, I don't feel like American. I don't feel like Maryland can keep it close. They don't have enough firepower, and they had a great start to the year, but I think Iowa exposed them early, and they haven't looked right since. So give me Michigan State, give me Sparty, give me Mel Tucker, give me Kenneth Walker III, who is a Heisman favorite right now. Give me them to win this matchup at East Lansing. It's a tough place to play. They get loud there, and coming off of a loss, you're gonna get Sparty that's real mad, real upset. So I'm all with them, man. Give me the boys in green. Next, we have number 18 Kentucky. They are 21.5-point favorites against Vanderbilt. 52.5 is the over/under. Vanderbilt, they are 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 games against Kentucky. Kentucky, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games against Vanderbilt. The total has gone under in 6 of Kentucky's last 8 road games. However, the total has gone over in 4 of Vanderbilt's last 5 home games. Mook, pick the winner.
He coming off 3 straight losses now? Is that where we're at? 2, 3? They've had a rough time. But the good news is that Vanderbilt's a very good medicine for the ailing, teams. So Kentucky will go on the road and to Nashville, and they're going to beat Vanderbilt with an inch of their lives. No, it's not going to be that bad. But I think Kentucky definitely gets right. They need this game against Vanderbilt for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But I think just in general, just to get healthy and just get that winning momentum back, that Vanderbilt is scheduled at the right time for Kentucky.
At the right time. Yep.
Yeah. So
the words in my mouth.
Cats in this one.
I'm going with you, man. I'm piggybacking. Give me the Cats. This is a perfect matchup at the right time. This is also Coach T. This is my lowest scoring game of the week. If Kentucky wins this matchup, I feel it being a, 28-3 type of game. Maybe 35-7. I feel like Kentucky can blow the doors off of Vanderbilt. Vandy, I think they can be decent with their new coaching staff, in the future years, but not this year, man. They got an uphill battle. They don't have a lot of talent, and they play in the toughest conference in college football. So, and then maybe they're too smart. I don't know. Maybe they got to lower their standards. I don't know. But Kentucky, they win this, and they win this big, easy. Next, we have number 14, Texas A&M. They are 3-point favorites on the road against number 16, Ole Miss. 55.5 is the over-under. Mississippi, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 home games. Texas A&M, they are 15-2 straight up in their last 17 games overall. And the total has gone under in the last 5 games in this matchup. Mook, pick the winner.
A&M's the number 2 scoring defense in the country. They give up 14 points a game. They got defensive end Tyree Johnson back last week, which is a big boost. On top of it, I think he had 2 sacks against Auburn. A&M, they can get to the SEC championship with a Alabama loss at Auburn, which we may poo-poo, but they've lost their last 2 times they went there. Ole Miss, on the other hand, Matt Corral, he's had a great year, but they've struggled when they play good defenses. Bama and Auburn, they had a rough time. That said, I think that A&M's defense makes some plays and gets some stops, and they'll do enough, I think, to win this game. And I think earlier on in the year, I was higher on Ole Miss and, not so high on A&M, but A&M's starting to really make a believer out of me a little bit now. So give me the Aggies in this one.
This is college football wrapped up in one game right here.
Yeah.
You got Texas A&M started as a top 5 team to begin the year. Had an up and down start, played great defense, but just could not score the ball. They kind of go up and down. Then they have a great upset win over Alabama, and now they're rolling. And then you got Ole Miss that not as of a high-ranked team, but had a great start to the year. And now you look up last couple of weeks, they've kind of faltered a little bit. I don't know what type of teams are going to show up here, right? Yeah. Texas A&M being only 3-point favorites on the road. I mean, to me, this screams, hey, take the points, take the home team. They're due for a bounce back. But on the other hand, it's like, why take Ole Miss when they haven't looked great over the last few weeks? And Texas A&M, they are skyrocketing, and they're looking like the team that they were projected to be the start of the year. And for all those reasons right there, this is why this is Coach T. This is my game of the week. Okay.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the one. And it's a game of the week. So clearly it's going to be a game where you don't really know who's going to win. The trends and all that don't really help me at all. But if I have to pick a winner, I have to pick the team that has been playing better of late, has a really good run game, has a really good defense. Yes, they're on the road, but I got to go with the Aggies here. In the last 17 games, they've won 15 of them. So they don't lose often with Jimbo Fisher as their head guy. And these are the type of games, when you win 15 of your last 17 games, that means that you're able to win the games on the road. And that's what good teams do. And that's what teams that are top 5 teams, they do. In Texas A&M, they're not a top 5 team right now, but they started the year as such. So a lot of people felt like they were one of those teams that could potentially make the playoffs. They can't do it this year, but they are a team that taking the right steps in terms of playing like a team that they should have been, or that they were projected to be early in the year. So give me the Aggies. Give me the Aggies to not only cover this number, give me them to win this game, of course. And I like this matchup for the Aggies. So give me Jimbo Fisher. Give me Texas A&M.
Just quickly with that, I also want to say Zach Calzada has got to be one of the toughest kids that I've seen. He's in an arm sling, or he's in a shoulder harness, and he's in a knee brace, and he just keeps taking a beating and keeps getting up and keep going. And
he's a tough guy, man.
Yeah, he is. And I think the way that they run the ball with Spiller, and the way that Ole Miss has a hard time stopping the run is another key, to me. Thinking that it's an A&M's game. So, all
right, cool. So we have a few more games left. Let's rip through these. We have New Mexico facing number 23 Fresno State. Fresno State, they're 24.5 point favorites at home. 50.5 is the over/under. Fresno State, they are 6-1 against the spread and 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games against New Mexico. And the total has gone under in 5 of New Mexico's last 7 games. Mook, pick the winner.
Fresno State, great balanced offense, tough defense all day.
Yep, all day, man. This is actually my blowout of the week. I don't feel like New Mexico has a chance. New Mexico hasn't scored over 14 points all year. So I think Fresno State gets close to 40, 50 points. So you're looking at a 50 to maybe 7 game potentially. So blowout of the week for me. Next, we have number 19, NC State. They are facing number 9, Wake Forest. Wake Forest, they are 2-point favorites at home. 66.5 is the over-under. Wake Forest, they are 11-1 against the spread in their last 12 games at home against NC State. And the total has gone under in 4 of NC State's last 5 road games. Mook, pick the winner.
2 of the top offenses, 2 of the top passing offenses in the country. Wake Forest can't stop anybody. NC State's defense is decidedly better than them. If they get a couple stops, and I'm just going to say maybe it's a turnover or 2, but I'm going to take the Wolfpack in this one.
Whoever you would have taken, I'm taking the opposite team. just for fun. Why not?
So just for you, Scoot.
Yeah. Just for you, Scoot. Just for you, buddy. So you're taking the Wolfpack. So I'm obviously taking the Demon Deacons at home. I feel like, hey, they can't stop a nosebleed. They can't stop anyone, but they darn sure can score the ball.
They sure can.
They definitely can. This is up there for highest scoring game of the week for me. If it's not the North Carolina game, it's definitely this one. So you're taking NC State. I'm going against you, buddy. I'm going to take the Demon Deacons. Give me Wake Forest. Next, we have number 10, Notre Dame. 5-point favorites on the road against Virginia. There's potential that Virginia's quarterback, Armstrong, that he may be out with a rib injury. So keep an eye out on that. 64.5 is the over-under. Notre Dame, they are 10-1 straight up in their last 11 road games. Virginia, they are 8-1 against the spread and 8-1 straight up in their last 9 home games. Mook, pick the winner.
What's the over-under? 60, 63?
Over-under is 64.5.
It's 64.5. So if Armstrong plays, I'm going to take the over on that. And
Yep.
I think Notre Dame wins the football game, but I think that their defense has been playing better. Virginia can score. Virginia's another team who can't stop a nosebleed, though. I think there's definitely enough offense that Notre Dame has figured out that they can outscore Virginia, and I think their defense makes enough plays to get, to stop some Virginia drives. So give me the Irish on the road in this one.
Yeah, if Armstrong plays, Virginia doesn't have a shot. But if he does play, I really like Virginia in this matchup. So it's hard for me to call it with not knowing if he's going to be in. It's a game time decision. Right. Ribs can be very tough, especially for a quarterback. You need a lot of torque and, just to throw the ball. And obviously he's going to take a couple hits. So even if he does play, there's a chance he can be knocked out of the game at any point. So with that being said, I got to go with Notre Dame. Give me the Fighting Irish. Next, we have TCU on the road against number 11 Oklahoma State. The Pokes, they are 13.5-point favorites at home. 54.5 is the over-under. Oklahoma State, they are 5-0 straight up and 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games. Actually, I read that wrong, but 5-0 straight up in their last 5 home games, and then 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games overall. And the total has gone over in 5 of TCU's last 7 road games. Mook, pick the winner.
This game is at Stillwater. I think that what's going on with the Cowboys right now is that they see an opportunity in front of them that heading into the Oklahoma Bedlam game, they can get this win and get the win next week. And man, you're talking about a team that if things go right, the way that we looked at the schedules of the other teams, they are one of those teams that could backdoor sneak in to the playoff if they get a win over Oklahoma. And Oklahoma needs to get some bonus points up there. There's a lot to play for Oklahoma State. I don't see. I know it was a great win by Jerry Kill and TCU. I think Oklahoma State plays some good defense, and I think they win this football game.
Yeah, you know, I've been all over Oklahoma State all year, so I'm not going against them here, even though I feel like TCU will play a spirited game, but I feel like the emotions of last week will maybe run dry this week. This has potential. Honorable mention, another one. I don't know why, but honorable mention, highest scoring game of the week for me. Both these teams are kind of smash mouth, love to run the ball, love to play defense, but for whatever reason, especially in 4 of the last 6 games within this matchup have gone over, I just feel like a lot of points will be scored. So that's just my take on it, my opinion. But who actually wins this game? Again, I got to go with Oklahoma State, who's, again, has everything in front of them. And as you mentioned, has an outside chance of making the college football playoffs. You never know what's going to happen. Only way they can control things is to win and win big. So I like Oklahoma State in this game. 2 more matchups. Second to last, we have Nevada coming off a upset loss. They are facing number 24 San Diego State. San Diego State, they are 2.5-point favorites at home. 46.5 is the over-under. Nevada, they are 5-1 straight up in their last 6 games. San Diego State, they are 8-1 straight up in their last 9 games. San Diego State is also 6-1 straight up in their last 7 home games. And the total has gone over in 4 of the last 5 games in this matchup. Mook, pick the winner.
Nevada has the 17th ranked scoring offense in the country. San Diego State has the 10th ranked scoring defense in the country. So it's strength on strength here. I think that the fact that San Diego State can run the football well and that they play such good defense leads me to believe that they can control the clock. And if they get a couple stops, win the football game. So San Diego State at home, a tough one for me this game is, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Aztecs in this.
Perfect. I'm going with the Wolfpack. I feel like they can score, and I feel like if San Diego State has any drought in this game, Nevada coming off an upset loss, they're going to be a little angry. I'm always looking for the bounce back factor. Let me highlight and point out, this is going to be a wonderful game, by the way, Mook. A really good game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up for it. I'm gaining years in my life, and the more years, it's harder for me to stay up for these games. But I do know one thing: if one team can score and one team has trouble scoring, I got to go with the team that can score. So give me the Wolfpack in this game. Sorry, San Diego State. I think your time in the top 25 has run dry. Last matchup, we have Washington State on the road against number 4 Oregon. The Ducks, they are 14-point favorites at home. 56 points is the over-under. Oregon, they are 5-0 straight up in their last 5 home games. Washington State, however, they are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games overall. And let me see, Washington State is 5-0 against the spread in the last 5 road games at Oregon. Mook, for the last game of the week, pick the winner.
Ranked Oregon Duck teams are 13-3 all-time versus unranked Wazoo teams. So basically, I'm saying there's a chance. If Oregon wins, they clinch the North in this, which that'd be a huge step to getting into the playoff. They, looking at their schedule, I think are, if they play up to their ability, a lock to make the playoff at this point. Because I don't think there's a whole lot of teams that are. There's nobody that's going to be favored to beat them until they get the playoff. Utah's getting a little tricky. It's coming up here. Washington State, they had a big dominating win over Arizona State. The athletes are at Oregon, but there's something about Washington State that makes me think that they're going to be in this game. I'm going to take the Ducks, but I don't know that they cover in this one. But give me Oregon.
Yeah, I'm all with you. Again, this is another game where, Mook, if it was at the other team's house, I would consider it more. If this was at the Palouse, at Washington State, okay, you can maybe sell me on it. But the fact that this is at Oregon's house, they are the numbers, I don't know, they're a top 4 team within the college football playoffs rankings. They have everything in front of them. I've mentioned this with numerous teams. I'm going to mention it with the Ducks. They have everything to play for. this is the only chance for any West Coast team to make the playoffs, and I don't think Oregon blows it. So give me Oregon, and actually I feel like Oregon wins big. You know, this is a 14-point number. If it was a lower number, I would consider, you know, maybe Washington State can keep it close. But again, Washington State being on the road, coming off of a dominating win against Arizona State, I feel like if you're great one week, the next week you're not going to be so great. So give me Oregon, and give me Oregon by a lot in this matchup.
Just another kind of thing that led me to it being a little bit closer is also that Washington State is coming off a bye. And they also have caused 11 fumbles. They're the number 2 fumble causing team in the country. So these little things like that just kind of are what made me kind of feel like coming off the bye, tough matchup in the past, maybe.
That's true.
But I agree with you. The West Coast, the Pac-12, Oregon's their only hope. And
they need it. Pac-12 needs it. I mean, the Pac-12 they're rooting for the Ducks here. Rooting. So that's a good point. Washington State is coming off of a bye week. Okay, so I stand corrected there, man. But so I feel like Washington State potentially could keep it close. But again, I'm not changing my thoughts here. I feel like Oregon wins, and they win big, and them being at home with everything in front of them. Man, give me the Ducks, and give me the Ducks big. I love them here in this matchup. All right, Mook. Hey, that's going to wrap it up for us. Another great week. You know, we've gotten really good at, we've gotten really efficient too, man. So I appreciate you staying strong here. Do you have anything you want to say to the fans?
No, I'm just excited. Lot of great football coming. We're down the stretch with college, at the midway point in the NFL. A lot of things are going to shake out here in the next couple of weeks, and just kick back and enjoy the heck out of it, man, because it's going to when it's over, we're going to be missing it. So we got it.
That's true. And I will say, you hit on it, you pointed it out, and thank you for doing that for not only me but also the fans. You talked about the fact that a lot of these top 10 teams, they're going to be playing one another. So if there's ever a time to lock in and focus on the college football season, right now is the time to do it, during crunch time. So as some of the coaches like to say, it's not politically correct, but this is nut cutting time. Okay, this is a time where things really shake out and the cream truly rises to the top. So I'm looking forward to finishing out this year. I'm looking forward to doing the show again with you, Mook. I want to God bless you, man, this week, and you enjoy it. And let's see how these games pan out. See who's right, see who's wrong. At the end of the day, if you're a fan of college football, you're going to be right, because I know one thing is going to be really good games all weekend. So I'm looking forward to that.
And it might just be worth watching, because you never know what kind of animal runs across the field.
Yeah. Shout out to the Foxes.
Yeah, shout out to the Fox. That was my fill in the blank, my bra moment.
Yeah.
So
right. I love it, Mook. I love it, man. So from us to you, this is me, Coach T. Keep showing us love, and we'll keep bringing you that funk. Peace.